Well, not only are studios making more films here in Chicago, but more films with specialty needs like sci-fi blockbusters Divergent and Transformers.
Well, CBS 2's Vince Gerasole is meeting with some creative minds now making a living here, pushing new boundaries. He's live at Makeup First, Chicago Makeup School in the Loop this morning. Hey, Vince.
Lights, camera, action! That's what they're saying on more and more corners here in Chicago with more films being made here. Am I ready for my close-up? There's a scary shot for you there. But thanks to makeup artists, for example, they can take away all those bags, smooth away the wrinkles, or give you some glamorous looks as well. We're here at Makeup First School of Makeup Artistry, and the folks who are trained here have actually been finding work here, which is interesting because in the past, so many makeup artists had to just leave the Chicago area. Now more are actually finding work here. This is J.C. Kerfus. You're one of those folks. Tell us about the movies you've been working on.
I worked on a couple films. One of them actually took me out to California. It was called Officer Down.
So you started here and then you went on out to California,
Yep.
right?
Started here, went out to California, came back here to finish it. It's actually doing great right now.
Did you ever imagine that you would be able to stay here and sort of, ply your trade as opposed to have to go all the way out to California?
No, I didn't. I always thought that if I wanted to be a working makeup artist, I'd have to be out in California or out in New York, and it turns out that there's actually a lot of film work and commercial work right here in Chicago, so I didn't have to go anywhere. Okay,
well, we're here at the school today. Part of the reason we're here, too, is because you might recognize this face if you watch the sci-fi show Face Off. This is Roy Woolley. He's one of the contestants, been doing fantastic fantasy makeovers. You're going to be teaching a seminar here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, correct?
Yes, we're going to do a live casting class, and then we're going to also make some silicone prosthetics.
Okay, so you're going to do an entire head in silicone, right?
We're going to do an entire head in silicone. Yeah.
Is there more of a demand for people who can do that, like fantasy look right now?
Yeah, there is. It's funny, over the last couple of years, there's become a bigger attention paid to practical effects. And so, yeah, the makeup part of it is a really big part, and it's really taken off again.
Okay, so we're going to take off this morning to show you some crazy looks. This one we're looking at here is reminiscent of the new Disney film Maleficent. You know the story of Sleeping Beauty. More looks coming your way this morning as we get you ready for some makeup movie magic.
That's not Vince.
Talking specifically about makeup this morning, there was a time when we were busy with just glamour looks, but now the films that shoot here, they require some fantasy looks, and that's what you're seeing here this morning. And I'm going to scare you just a minute because I have a fantasy look on my face that looks quite deadly. It was put on my face by Roy Woolley, who has worked on so many films in Hollywood. To tell us some of the films you've worked on first.
Recently, I've worked on Hunger Games, Mockingjay, and I also did some set work on Vampire Diaries.
Okay, so how does something like this start? Because I guess you're making me look like, I don't know, the Phantom of the Opera or something. It starts with this, right?
Yeah, it starts out with a live cast and a design, and then you sculpt it, you make a mold, and then you cast it up.
So first you put something on a head like this, and then he attaches it to my face. It just peels right off. And then you go ahead and you paint it as well?
Yeah, we take it and we apply paint and makeup and everything to make it look more natural.
Okay. Jill Glazer, come on here because she owns the makeup school. Are you finding that there really is more of a demand for folks to, create these looks?
There definitely is, and that's why the school offers a comprehensive program for the training of makeup artists so that they're able to say yes to any job that comes into the city.
Okay, and how am I looking right now?
You look very handsome. Very handsome.
She knows how to lie. Don't worry. My producer back there is saying, don't look like that the rest of the morning, so I will pull this off in about 30 seconds. But just show us one more time the painting, how it goes. So he uses the airbrush, and he just applies the makeup with the airbrush right there.
Yes,
okay. Well, just fantastic with this transformation. I'm not going to sing anything from Phantom of the Opera, but I am going to pull off my face. Can I pull it off?
It may hurt.
It may hurt. Face off! Ah! Okay, I'm not going to ruin it.
Wow, it really does hurt.
I don't know what's better, this.
Not so sure that went the way he expected.
Mission Impossible.
Oh, wow. All right.
Roy Woolley knows very well how the demand for makeup artists has changed in the past just 5 or 10 years. First of all, you were on the sci-fi reality show Face Off, and we all love watching you.
Well, thank you.
What's it like having to come up with a different creation every week?
It's very draining. Because normally you have several weeks to come up with a character and design and stuff like that and even make it. Here we're given 20 hours from start to finish.
And you have to come up with those incredible looks.
And you have to do that, once a week.
And how have you seen, you started being interested in makeup years ago, but you've seen the field change where you can actually find employment in it now, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, used to you just spent your time making up your friends and everything. Now you can actually find actual work, doing this full time.
Because there's so many outlets now for video production and
Yeah.
things like that. Okay, so a little bit earlier, Roy made this. This was this thing I had on earlier when I was like the Phantom of the Opera. I had this on or something. But and it's still sticking to my face too. All right, so he made it on this mold here, and then you use an airbrush. We're familiar with these at the station, but some folks have never seen them. You have some paint in here, right?
Yes.
And what do I do to sort of paint this for step?
You press the button down for air, and then you
Okay.
pull back for the amount of paint that you
Okay,
want.
so then I just pick an area where I want to.
Yep, and then you just start painting.
And this is really a process. I mean, you can ruin it at this point too,
Oh yeah,
right?
oh yeah, you definitely can. I mean, you can make something look great with a great paint job and awful with a bad one.
Okay, so how am I doing there? Great or awful?
You're okay.
Oh, no, look how kind he is. Okay.
You're doing
and then
great
at the
for a
end
beginner.
here, hold this here. At the end here, then I would just put it on like this. And there's my new face. I love how I got it off, though. I'm glad that Martin Landau from Mission Impossible, for the old timers out there, pulling off my face. More coming up with Roy Woolley, who's teaching a special seminar this weekend here at Makeup First.
You know, Roseanne, if they were going to make a movie about that hawk attacking people, these folks would come in handy because they could create those scratches. Really, these are makeup artists making a living for themselves now in the film industry here in the Chicago area. Z. Gustafson, you at one time thought you'd have to leave Chicago to be a makeup artist, but you're finding you're working in film.
Yeah, I got to work on 4 indie features last year. One of them was starring Paul Sorvino called Precious Metal, and he was in Goodfellas. So indies are great because you get to be creative with people who've been in the industry forever.
Did you fear you'd have to leave Chicago to do something like this?
I did, but the nice thing is especially here in the school, Jill teaches you to be versatile, so you really get to accept all jobs that you are handed to.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the looks they have been putting together. There's a big movie coming out with Angelina Jolie about Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. We've got the Maleficent look going on here. And now we're going to take a look at some Tim Burton kind of stuff. This is sort of like a scary or cracked baby doll, but it does look like it came from a Tim Burton film there. And then here, as you're headed to work today, these are the looks that you might want to put on because this is glamour makeup for today. So, Jill Glazer, what are we talking about in terms of the makeup look for the spring?
Well, in the spring, blue is back. And I'm so excited because the blue is 60s, 70s, and 80s. So anywhere on the eyes, we are seeing blue.
Okay, my mom's bouffant is back then.
Yes, excellent. And then we're also seeing a coral lip. So we combined a little bit of blue under the eye here, and pastels are great. But instead of the pastels, on the runways, we were seeing a lot of bright yellow.
Keep those colors in mind. And then a little bit earlier, Roy Woolley from Face Off created this for me. I had it on my face like this, and then I peeled it off, and you were scared because I had hospital adhesive. He thought I was going to pull my skin off, but I didn't.
Well, again, I'm very glad that you didn't because they don't have to put more makeup on you.
Back to you guys in the studio, and I'm going to bring this back as a little souvenir.
All right.
You can rip it off my face if you want.